Greetings guys, this is PlayStation here, back in another video. I do hope you guys are all doing well. Today I figured we'd do a Brawl Tristan. There's quite a few Tristan variants you'll see, whether it be the Brawl, something similar to this, the Newt Tristan, or the full-on like Kite Tristan with like the medium shield extender, MWD long point. I've enjoyed this Brawl Tristan, and now I probably hear you, right? You're probably like, why pulses? Well, I was thinking about the alternatives, right? Like, blasters, like short range, right? And most people, I feel like, once you're going into Tristan, usually expect a Newt Tristan. At least I do anyway. Every Tristan I warp into that's close, I always pull range from them, like to like 7.5k, just so that we don't get like completely muted out. And blasters won't be applying it to this range. Maybe if null loaded. But with pulses, with Scorch, we're hitting out to almost 10k. Like, I think it's like a 9.9 optimal, which is sweet, man. But if they do end up ramming us, we can still use like multi-frequency or conflag. Still do relatively good DPS. I didn't like the idea of autos. Autos are quite easy though, because they'll still be applying probably out to that range. Even if they kite out, you probably get the occasional grazing. But I was like, alright, this is why I decided pulses, and I had quite a soft spot for pulses recently. Just like Scorch having that sweet optimal, man. If we do end up getting like Scram Kite, you can always use Scorch. But pretty much other than that, man, this is pretty standard. That's like 5k HP with like the hull tank's pretty sweet, man. I don't think many people expect that kind of tank in a Tristan. I didn't realize Tristan could actually get that good a tank and hull. So yeah, I was surprised. Just done quite good things for me. I am running Exile and Agency Overclocker. I wasn't too sure which it's called Agency booster to use, but I decided to pawn Overclocker as opposed to Hardshell or Parallancia. I don't think I'll be getting as much out of like Overclocker with just a small anti or Parallancia, just because the effects are pulses. And, all the pulses are good, they're not doing like crazy DPS for us. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say about the fight. Let's get on to the fight. Okay, for our first fight, we have a Newt Tristan. You'll see when I warp in here and I see him at like a brawl range, I'm going to keep him at 7.5k. Whenever you slide into a Tristan in a Plex and it's close by, I always expect Newts. It could be some form of other brawl Tristan, like no Newts, but that's very rare. I feel like if they're like close to you when you warp in, it's usually Newts. If they're farther out, you're probably going to get one of those long point shield extender ones. But you'll see at this range that we're keeping here, 7.5k, we're still getting a lot of new pressure, a lot more new pressure than what I was expecting. So we could have potentially overheated their scram and then pulled it out even further. I took too long to do this, and then the new pressure gets on top of us real good. So my modules are going to turn off very shortly. That might also be one of the weaknesses to the pulses, in that they're quite cap heavy. But since we have like a lot of hull buffer, we're still quite tanky, right? I should have also probably put my NOS on overheat here, just to potentially take like enough cap back to get like another charge off in our small anti, because yeah, I believe the Tristan's 400 blades when we're fighting, and yeah, it turns out to be a very close one. Potentially I should have maybe shot off my pulses off sooner to conserve cap for this small anti, but nevertheless we do end up taking it. Okay, here we have two fights against Kestrels. Basically, my idea is to get to 2k, orbit them just so we can maybe mitigate their damage if they do something weird with rage. So we're quite speedy with the overclocker, I'm hoping. But since he's like keeps quite far out, we end up switching to Scorch, which is why I really like pulses, because like that instant ammo swap is really nice, right? And I do notice we're starting to get a bit closer, so I'm keeping an eye until when we get to like optimal for conflag or multi. And I'm surprised how much DPS this Kestrel is putting out. I think I might have started my reps a bit late. And yeah, I just wasn't expecting the DPS this guy was putting out. But we get close enough. I use conflag, and due to that like really good hull tank, we sorta pull through here, but nevertheless it's very close. As for the second Kestrel, this is like a small anti dual web one. So basically the same idea, I believe. I want to get around 2k. I keep him at range 2k this time, interesting. I'm using multi. If he starts to pull range, which I'm expecting he will, we'll switch to Scorch. But in the meanwhile, we want to basically apply as much damage as possible. And that's the thing with pulses, man. That instant ammo swap is so nice, man. Once I see that it starts to get range, switch to Scorch. Scorch is OP. And we're still applying damage. This is probably why I like pulses so much, man. Just that instant weapon swap. Like, going back to projectiles with a 10-second reload is a nightmare. But okay, here we have a fight against one of those dual rep and curses, so you know this is probably going to take a while. Same plan, or about 7.5k. We're going to be using my warrior set with like a hobgoblin, because I think I've run out of warrior. I'll use Scorch. Since this guy has no range control, we're in a sin pretty really. We just need to like kind of weather him out. And I believe this guy is baiting for his crew, but it seems like we've done a lot of good damage at the start there. He just wasn't expecting DPS we were pulling out. Whether our warriors are just getting some nice smashing hits in there, or I don't know what. He just wasn't managing his reps properly. But yeah, he also takes the E-War off of us. I don't know if that's to like conserve cap, or he might have just not played this situation as well as what he should have. But yeah, there's not really much else to be said in this fight. He could have switched to null, and you'd be hitting us out to about 7.5k with the occasional grazing. But other than that, this kind of range is kind of very hard for one of these type of boats. Okay, here we have a fight against one of these dual web breachers. I know going into this is going to be a really hard fight. He should be able to control range here. So I was hoping that maybe he would do a weird play, orbit close, and we could use multi-frequency or conflag. But it seems like he pulled range, in which case we switch to Scorch, which is, as we've said before, instant ammo swap is sweet. But yeah, basically at this, I just need a tank, really. He doesn't seem to be doing too much DPS to it. As breachers are known to do, they're more tanky. They can still put out really nice DPS, but this is going to be basically battle of tanks. He does come in closer for whatever reason. I guess he was seeing that as like pulses or something and think that I can make it underneath the guns. That's what I'm thinking. He does sort of like dip in and out. I guess he's going back out now, and then we see that we switch to Scorch. But yeah, I kind of went in expecting this to be a hard fight, man. It doesn't seem like we're putting too much pressure on his tank. We may have done. Something weird happens here. I think he ends up actually leaving us. So I think he would have still had that, but GF, man. Alright. And to finish us off, boys, we have 3 Atron fights. I included 3 of these Atron fights. They're always pretty sweet, man. This sort of shows like what I mean by the Tristan. This guy keeps us at about 8k or something. I'm thinking that we're going to be newt fit, right? We use Scorch, and at this point, he's kind of buggered, right? I believe he has null loaded. The 5-second reload to go to void or anti would be catastrophic for him, man. At this point, since we've put so much damage on him, it's very rough for the Atron. I do try and like keep at 7k, you know, just keep it. And then I approach at this point, just because in case he like starts to leave. I overheat my scram just because this is what I think he's going to do. So at this point, it looks like it's kind of in our favor. I still have like so much hull tank left. This Atron's looking a bit dire. We are starting to take hull damage ourselves, but at this point, I believe we've taken it. Just because of like that, forcing an Atron to like use null is very rough. But when they do know what like just approach like this, you'll see how close these fights can get. So I basically Scorch, keep at 7k. He gets in rapid. So I'm like, alright, we need to quickly switch to conflag or multi. I don't know, I switch to multi. And then pray. Just like hope that we can make it some of his tracking in some way. You'll notice I orbit 500 here. And then you'll see that sort of double click close into his direction at one point, trying to like make him lose some hits. I feel like he's just approaching. Or keeping us at like a very short range. So if we do this, like we got like one hit miss from him, and that's what made us win that fight there. So that was a very close one. And then this is another real close one. He starts to 0 at the fight. Approach does, I believe, like void loaded. And you'll see like we have conflag loaded here, which is all DPS and it's basically DPS battle. We have like about a lot more hull buffer, but they do like a lot more DPS than us. So it's kind of usually a very close fight. You'll see this ends up being super close. Fun fight regardless, and yeah, GF boys, GF. There we have it, guys. Another video. I would have liked to have more fights, but I didn't end up finding them. It's a shame because I would have liked to include. I would be interested to see how the Tormentor matchup would go. If there's some way that we could maybe get under the guns. And I'd also like to fight like one of those like dual web blaster Merlins. I think they would have been good fights to include in this, and I'm curious to see how they would have went. But hopefully this video also sold you on fitting pulses onto your Tristan. I do still feel like what's it called, blasters and autos will be viable, but I feel like pulses are the best way to go, man. Like feel free to comment in the comment section as to why I am wrong. Yeah. But anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, regional equivalent, evening. And I do hope to catch you guys in the next one. Do take care.